Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Elevator New Reader. We have the OG crew here. Got Amanda and Omar. What's up?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
Amanda's
what's going
lost her
on?
voice because she was at her second Fallout Boy concert of the year.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I'm so sorry, guys. Maybe by
she's
tomorrow
been
I'll be better.
And
Take
instead of
shots
drinking any
of
hot tea or anything helpful for her throat, she's drinking wine. So we know she's in the right place.
whiskey. A couple shots of whiskey will do
Wine.
you straight.
Got
Very
some
good.
wine in because my glasses are dirty. My mug cup.
Classy.
Um,
What are we talking about today, Maddie?
we're here to talk about Tom Taylor's Nightwing, volumes 1 through 3, and Nightwing Fear State.
Fear State, which is kind of like 1.5 of Nightwing.
Yeah.
Available in trade paperback and available in standard size hardcover formats like these right here.
Let me highlight you so you can show those
Yeah,
off.
absolutely. There are. Well, Amanda has them too. You should,
No,
Sorry.
you're fine. No, you're good. He's got them all. He can do it better. He has bigger hands than I do.
These are the 4 hardcovers available so far. And again, Volume 1 is in trade paperback. Volume 2 is in trade paper. Fear State's in trade paperback. I think they're waiting about a year. Something. I'm not sure. DC is kind of a little all over the place with how long they wait until it comes out in trade
What?
paperback. So
That's crazy.
yeah, well,
Never heard that before.
That's how it is. But Volume 1 of the hardcover is out of print, but it's still one of those that's, it's out of print, but people online, you can still get it at a pretty decent price if you're looking for it.
Yeah, and I see a lot.
And-
So like check your local comic book store because I tend to still see copies in person.
Yeah. That's actually how Amanda found one. One of our viewers found her a copy.
I haven't read this supposedly awesome run yet, but I'm fine with having it spoiled since I have so much other stuff to read anyway. I will say,
nice.
and I say this about a lot of books that we talk about, because even though this show does have spoilers, right? I think this does fall into the category of, even if you hear us talk about a lot of the different parts of this comic book, it's not going to ruin it for you for a lot of reasons. And we'll get into that, but a lot of that's the art, the way it's written, the intricacies of the story, his character development, all of that. I would have to be here for like 2 days to properly ruin that for you. And I won't be because I have to go to sleep at some point. James, thank you. Always being on it with the emoji game.
That's a good.
What is that? A
It's
bat?
a bat and a butt. It's a
That's a
peach with
peach.
a butt.
But that symbolizes.
I've
It's
taken
a
many
bat
bites
butt.
of those.
Nightwing
I'm
booty.
very familiar with what a peach is, ladies.
Let's not talk about you eating peaches as a euphemism on YouTube.
I love comics. What's up, Steven? And Nightwing is my favorite DC character. Same,
Nice.
buddy. Same. It's my favorite DC character. We need a Nightwing Taylor Omni now, and also one by Chuck Dixon. Chuck Dixon's is. I've got a custom one. I've got 3 of his complete run. It's my favorite Nightwing book. This is getting up there though. This is doing things that I'm liking so far. I can't wait to talk about this.
We do not speak his name. Elmer.
It's hashtag Forever Dick here on this channel.
Yeah. And even Tom Taylor pretty much doesn't even acknowledge the fact that Rick Grayson ever.
It kind of comes up because he's like, I wasn't myself. But
I think he kind of did, right? Like he was like, I got
Yeah.
shot in the head and I wasn't myself.
And that was good.
Tom Daly. Let me highlight this one really quick.
okay.
Does the Batman Detective Comics by Peter J. Tomasi omnibus come right after? Yes, it does. I will explain a little more on my video, which comes out. It's filmed already. Comes out on Thursday. What's missing though? There's a couple of volumes in between. Dude, thank you. I feel the same way. It's like a spiritual sequel to Dixon's run. Yes, and I can't wait to talk about this in a deep dive. So Nightmite, I acknowledge. I haven't read Nightmite because he didn't show up in my trade. So people keep talking about this character. It's not in any of these.
Nope, not at all.
Amanda sounds hoarse, like she was doing the bell.
That's exactly what I was
She's
doing.
yelling. She's yelling a lot.
Fall Out Boy concert.
There you go.
All right, so let's get into it. So we've already done a show in the first volume, right? So am I imagining that? We did, right?
No, we did because I saw.
Did I do it?
And
yeah,
I was
we
like,
did it. I was like,
what
I
are
was
these
pretty
notes
sure.
for?
You looked at me like I hadn't. I was like,
was I there? I don't think I was
we
there.
did, and I was like, why did I write notes already? That's really strange.
So
And
we
you're
have
right.
done one. Yeah, we have
Yes.
done one together about volume 1. This time we're doing more. This is a Patreon pick, so thank you for those on Patreon who voted for this. You can do that every month to vote for an over your new reader pick.
Really quickly, let me handle this one. I've been hearing a bunch of pessimists in the past, but I've heard this run kind of treads water, is slow with a lot of progression. Maybe a little to your first part. It isn't slow at all. It kind of moves a little too quick at times. A lot of progression, like progressing the character, or something that we've been wanting to see for a long, or at least I've been wanting to see as a fan of both Oracle and of Nightwing. If that's what you mean, then yes, that's the progress I've been looking for. Unless they're complaining about something else.
Compared to the comics, I can see if you are an avid comic reader, you might see it as slower without progression because you're used to high event action sequences in books. Mm-hmm. This is very much a Nightwing as his character, as like exploring Bloodhaven, him kind of dealing with his grief, dealing with how he can be a hero. The whole theme of this book, and this will start the kind of discussion about it, but the whole theme of this book is kind of shown right at the beginning. We get this back, like this flashback where Dick Grayson ends up defending someone as himself when he's a kid. And Alfred says to him, he's like, I'm really proud of you. Because, Batman may say that he doesn't want you to be this crime fighter. He doesn't want you to be this vigilante in real life. But I'm proud of you because you choose to be Dick Grayson, the hero, with a mask on or not.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the whole flow of this book, is him exploring how to be that for both. How can he be being Nightwing, but also figure out how he can be Dick Grayson and help Bloodhaven? And what does that mean to him? And how do you put these two aspects of himself together? And of course, him exploring that with his friends, what does it mean to be by yourself versus with what he calls his what's his net, his safety net, right?
Yeah. This time around, so and it's hard not to compare it, but I guess it kind of makes sense to a lot of people's favorite run. Somebody compared it to this is like Chuck Dixon, 2000 and something. There's a little bit of difference though. In this one, he's more connected to the family, because keep in mind, in Chuck Dixon's run, he was alone. It was spinning right out of Nightfall. He felt betrayed by Batman, and Batman had a beautiful talk with him during Prodigal, because he sees him like a son. And that was the first time we've seen that really in a Batman comic. They have a beautiful moment. And Dick decides to be his own man and move over to Bloodhaven, which is a lot worse than what Gotham ever was. In this, though, he's connected to everybody. Like, he's talking to Babs, he's talking to Tim, he's talking to Jason Todd, he's talking to Kate, just everybody in the Bat family he's in contact with. The other big thing, and this is a spoiler not for this, but a spoiler for Tom King's run on Batman, is that Alfred is gone, right? Like, Bane broke his neck and killed him in the pages of Tom King's Batman. And this is kind of like the ramifications of how Dick is dealing with that. Like, he's got an inheritance, and there's a lot of there's a lot of flashbacks that shows the relationship between him and Alfred, and really sweet. Like, it's kind of relationship that Alfred, had with Bruce. He sees with both of them as sons. And even though Bruce sees Dick as his son, so does Alfred.
They're
maybe
co-parents.
Like a grandfather in a way.
As someone who raised my nephews, I understand that kind of like that. They're not my kids, but they're my kids.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. And it really comes through in the flashbacks. And he leaves him the inheritance. And like Maddie was saying, it's like, okay, I can help Bloodhaven like this as Nightwing. I can fight crime. But I need to fix Bloodhaven. I need to fix it with money. So he starts being more in the spotlight. Whereas in Chuck Dixon's run, he didn't have any money. He was like, oh, crap, I need a job. Okay, I'll become a cop. And that's what he did. He became a cop in that, and he was but here's the thing, and I'm a continuity guy, so it's so hard for me to keep track as to what is in continuity and what isn't. Because there's a lot of retcons in here, but I feel like those retcons happen in the pages of New 52.
Well, and that's really complicated question right now. With especially people,
especially if you're Mark Waid writing a book and asking people, "Hey, can somebody quickly tell me what is the continuity of Robin, because I can't keep up?"
Well, here's the thing: is I'm sure people, if they've been reading DC, and like I'm not up to date with like all DC, but I always keep up to date with my Titans and what's happening with them. because now we're dealing with the part where like when they had rebooted everything, I was we as if I was with DC. When they had rebooted everything, right? They were like, that's done. Everything pre-New 52 doesn't matter, right? But then cracks happened, right? So Wally came back with his memories of pre-New 52, right? Now we have all the Titans have all of their memories from pre-New 52. Donna remembers having kids. She remembers everything that's in the Wolfman run.
Oh,
right?
That's right. Yeah.
All of the Titans remember those things because they have to in order to remember Wally. So at this point, all of them remember this stuff. So now we're dealing with this really weird, timey-wimey thing that DC said they were never going to do, that they've done again, where all of a sudden, those things have the potential to exist. And so you're like, okay, I'm just going to suspend my disbelief because I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm walking into with anyone.
And my point to that was if you're coming in from like the old school Nightwing stories, this might be a little retroactive, I guess, like because he is retconning a few things. One of the biggest ones I think that I'm still like, where did this come from? I think this is the first time we've talked about it. Was the Jason Todd when he's having flashbacks of his mother. Now, Jason Todd in the pre-New 52 era did not know his mother, but I think it was in Scott Lobdell's Red Hood and the Outlaws that they retconned his history in the second.
Probably, I read
in the Rebirth,
and I don't remember
era. Yeah, and it's things like that that my brain has to like.
His mom.
Just go with it. Whatever. This is a new history, so it's fine. So as long as you keep that in mind, coming into it with an old school mentality, but also like it's DC. You got to roll with the punches of new continuity. Things change, and you got to keep up. So go ahead.
I guess we don't really have to talk about the whole story with everybody, but like a brief. Let me give like a quick brief. And then we just dig in. So that way, because there's some comments in the chat I think that are worth addressing.
Yeah.
But basically, he's created Haven for Bloodhaven, is what it's called. It's called Haven, and it's his community project. He's trying to create these safe spaces for people there, right? Especially the disenfranchised. He's trying to create a community there. And from the get-go, it is being targeted. Not Nightwing. Dick Grayson is being targeted. Which is a very interesting dynamic because used to be he was like, well, I'm good. Like there's this whole sequence where Babs is like, hey, they've got a hit on you. You're like, that's fine, no big deal. Like, no, they've got a hit on Dick Grayson, not you.
Which is the best issue. The best issue.
Yeah, very cool. That's we see in the background.
We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but go ahead.
So the local crime lord, whose name I already forgot, Amanda, you got it. Blockbuster. Blockbuster, who's got a lot of people in, right? And like the police and as we know, Dick Grayson's sister, surprise, all those people, he's got some ins with them. He's trying to get at Dick Grayson to stop this because they don't need happiness. They need it to be chaotic so they can push drugs and crime and everything else. Yes. And at the same time, so as Dick is dealing with this, as Nightwing and himself, we also have someone at the other side of this, which is Heartless.
Yep.
Who is somebody that we still don't really fully know, who literally steals people's hearts, like with like a gun.
And we know now uses them to stay alive, essentially.
Right. He's got this big collection, and we know that Dick Grayson is at the heart of it. And this is no spoilers for post Volume 3, everybody, please, if you're reading it issue to issue. Yeah, because at the end of Volume 3, we still don't know exactly who he is.
Nope.
And so that's like our basis. At the same time, we're dealing with like all the themes that we talked about. Right. So him trying to balance that, him trying to balance whether he wants to be by himself or see, remembering that having a safety is not a bad thing. Having support is good. So him working through that. And of course, the background of him and Oracle finally, becoming a couple for real, but who knows how that one's going to last.
And saying I love you or not I love you, I don't know. Sometimes.
They did. And I wanted to go to mention that as like a background so we could start talking about everything in this. Because Cody had a good comment. Taylor's run is great if you want beautiful art of Dick and Babs together and don't care about having an advancing plot. I would disagree with that.
I think the plot moves too fast.
I think the plot is great. I think people, and I understand there's a difference in what you like, right? Some people like high octane things. The fight scenes are still great, by the way, but we're getting a lot of like character development. We're getting a lot of development of Bloodhaven. We're getting a lot of development of these people together, which I love. I love a Dick Grayson with the Bat family personally. To me, that's juicy.
Yeah, and it's
There'd be a
not
lot of juicy stuff to work with.
it's like his relationship with Superman and his relationship with Wally West. You're getting all of that too, and it's all advancing still to understand who he is. And then yes, in the background you have Heartless, who's doing something, and we still don't know.
And honestly, I like that it's playing out like that. I like that like too. They were like, hey, here's your big villain, and we're just gonna sprinkle them in throughout, but you're gonna be distracted with Blockbuster this whole time.
He's a real jerk.
Yeah. But anyways, I want to get this. Let's go ahead and dig into stuff.
Okay.
I know Amanda and I want to talk about the end and some other stuff. So
yeah. There's a lot to talk about in here, and I just want to go ahead and talk about this. They really need to get this Heartless fight over with, because I feel like he's kind of saying what Cody's saying. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cody, if you're still here. Yeah. It's been a lot of issues carrying this bad guy around. Okay, and that's what I was thinking, but I come from the mentality of 80s, where to me, holy shit, we just killed Blockbuster. Like, Blockbuster was the bad guy in Chuck Dixon's run. Let me say that again. He was the bad guy in Chuck Dixon's run until Chuck Dixon left the book. And Chuck Dixon didn't even kill him. It was Devin Grayson that killed him. Yep. So my mentality is like, oh, they're going way too fast. We just killed Blockbuster. He is the bad guy. Well, what's left? Oh, Heartless. Okay, well, let's find out about him. And so to me, my mentality is I'm still stuck in that 80s mentality of like storytelling, whereas now it seems like, is that right? Are people used to things just going 6 issues, man? We got to get going.
I think so, but I think that Heartless being introduced in the first volume is a misdirect for what Tom Taylor's trying to show, right?
Yeah.
Because you need his conflict with Blockbuster to build his character development and his, ownership of like Bloodhaven and how he you need that, because Heartless he doesn't care about that necessarily. He just wants control over everything, and I think to get back at Dick Grayson, I'm really not quite sure.
And my point is not to call anyone out, because if that's the way stories are being told, but I think like, is that the way we're being programmed? Because you don't see people writing books for more than 12 issues, right? I mean, I talk about this on my Saturday stream. We see like Jason Aaron is an oddity that's stuck around writing Avengers for 5 years, or stuck around writing Thor for 7 years. Most of the time you get a writer, you get excited, and by the time you read like the first 10 issues, they're already like, oh, we got a new writer lined up, and it's going to be starting over with a brand new number 1. And I think that might be why people are like, this story isn't going anywhere. Whereas me, I like the long game. I'm a Claremont.
Oh yeah, I want a long. I want to get like little pieces in a way that's like satisfying, not a way that's like I'm pretentious and
what's going on.
am Hickman. But that's me. But this way, it feels like a very satisfying story beat where I'm like, okay, I still don't know what this guy's game is. But I agree with Amanda. I think you hit the nail on the head where this was a necessary first villain. It's good to go ahead and show the back so you can start thinking about it and like turn in your head like, why is this guy getting involved but not explicitly involved?
Yeah.
Right. And so we're focusing on this a lot. Same reason why I'm like, okay, we introduced Nightwing's sister, but we haven't done much with that, which means it's going to come back around.
Yep.
Sometime. Because that was my only critique. I was like, oh man, I want more of that. But I'm like, okay, I'm sure it's going to be. I trust Tom Taylor to satisfyingly. Yeah. Satisfyingly bring that around.
Yeah. I mean, she played her part in the 3rd volume, what she needed to do. Like, she helped bring down Blockbuster, but
there's got to be more to it.
They're not really talking about their relationship that much. There's more there to it that I don't think we've really addressed. Because he's been dealing with everything else. He's been
he's got his hands full. Yes. I'm hoping that they bring her around a lot when Heartless becomes more of a related thing. Yeah. Especially since he was like, oh, Nightwing was the first guy. I'm like, what did he do?
Yeah, what did he do?
The only book that I can see what Cody and Comics and Tortillas are saying, this is the only one that I kind of feel like, okay, yeah, nothing much happened here, because this is a forced crossover with Fear State, right? Like what was going on with Detective Comics and over in the pages of Batgirls. And then we're like, oh, well, you got to write the story, Tom Taylor. And he's like, well, I'm in the middle of a Heartless thing. Okay, fine, I'll write this. I felt like nothing really happened here. The annual was sweet, and the annual had, like I said, some retcons in there too. But I feel
the
like
Christmas
this is the
issue
one
was
that
great.
moved a little slower. Which
I
one?
did like the Christmas issue.
The Teeny Howard one?
Fear State overall, I'm like, whatever. But like,
Oh yeah, that was cute. I like
the
that.
Christmas issue was great. The
I like
background
that.
stories were really
I love
good.
that
I liked him
Cassandra
and Jason.
The
played
Blood Brothers.
Death.
Yeah.
I love that Cassandra played the death role in here because
It
that
was
makes
so
sense.
good. And the way he was so sad because he was like, "Why isn't Batman calling me on Christmas?"
I know.
That's because Jason was there because he wanted to talk to you and he was trying to find Jason. I was like, "You guys, you boys,
those boys."
I will say this run is very, very in your face about it's okay to have feelings, feelings for another guy, like a lot. Because I don't, I kind of get that from Tom Taylor though, because I've also read his run on Superman, and even a little bit of his not Deceased. What's the other one in Injustice? I can see a little bit of that. And it's like, I don't know if it's a bromance or what, but like the whole relationship between Wally's like, I run through your city every hour on the hour to make sure you're okay. And I was like, with Dick, I'm like, that's a little stalkerish, man. And he's like, okay, thanks, dude. But Wally's out there fighting villains too, man. He can't be running through Bloodhaven all the time.
You never see real male friendships like that. I mean, and those happen.
Well, men don't, like most men I know aren't that open with, I mean, maybe we should be. Aren't that open with their
I'd say
feelings.
you're pretty loving with
I am very loving,
friends.
especially the more I drink. I get very loving. But you know what I'm saying? I think most guys aren't like that though. And this is a very like Wally and Dick are best friends, and like Wally's yelling it out loud.
Family.
He's like, Linda, he's moving in with us. I'm sorry. He's my best friend. Like without even asking her or the kids. I love that part.
Titans are family. The same way like the Bat family is a found family and like they're getting closer, which I think Detective Comics did a great job of. And especially Wayne Family Adventures, which just arrived at my house today. I can't wait to read it.
Oh,
the webtoon already. Yeah, they just released a physical. Not that I've already read it. I'll just read it again. Yeah. But to me, I mean, I've always said Titans are great because they're a family. Like Justice League, they're colleagues. I mean, it can be close, but it's not going to be the same. This is the people that like grew up together.
Yeah.
So like he and Wally are really close. The way he's close with Donna, it's like this like very strong platonic friendship, which I really appreciate.
Let me see.
I don't know why Roy Harper's not included. Everybody keeps forgetting that he's alive, but that's okay.
What we're saying is X-Office needs Wolverine and Sabretooth to become brothers again. No, we don't need that again. Besides, Wolverine is with Cyclops, and they're sharing a lot more than feelings. So, is anybody else? I think there's a couple of people here that read a lot of older comics, but anybody else feel bad for poor Risk? Like, Risk gets killed off really quick here. Risk is the guy in Infinite Crisis who got his arm ripped off by Superboy Prime. He hasn't been used properly in anything. So when he shows up, I'm like, holy shit, it's Risk. Oh, he's dead. That sucked. Oh, well. That didn't last long. I mean, seriously, like ever since he was introduced, I don't think anybody really cared for, what was his name, Cody? He was introduced to Teen Titans, Dan Jurgens run, right? He wasn't
I don't
even
know who these people are.
The Titans run. So when he got like gets his arm ripped off by Superboy Prime in Infinite Crisis, nobody cared. And then he shows up in Titans East with a robotic arm. And then here he showed up and I got excited. And I'm like, oh, they're just gonna kill him. Okay.
That guy.
Yeah, the guy that the two people from Metropolis killed, remember? Yeah, and he teams up with Superboy to solve the crime.
Yeah. They were killing superheroes, right? Because they were that issue.
And that was another case of, showing feelings was the whole Nightwing and Superman. Because Superman's alone, right? Like his dad is in space, and it has this really pretty flashback of Superman, or I'm sorry, at the time, Superboy.
Yep.
Hiding in a cave because he got lost. And Nightwing and Batman find him. Nightwing offers him a lollipop, and he came back around to that at the very end of the issue. And nobody's talking about poor Risk, but that's okay. I get it.
Not about Risk.
It's not about Risk.
So casualty.
And I break your heart where he's like, hey, not everybody knows this, but like I was actually in infernal hell for this many years. Stole that from Angel, obviously, but that's okay.
C-list. I think he's more like B-list, man.
and imagine that you Nightwing would come and kind of and just like juggle and get me out like you always do. And I was, that's such a kid thing that when you're alone, right? Yeah. So of course he was like, listen, I was holding on to anything that I could. And I was like, of course you were, because you never should have been aged up. They never should have done this to you.
Oh, yeah, no, Maddie, we got to let that go. We got to let that go. This is a new era.
He was great, but it's fine.
And you just got to roll with the punches.
Sure.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, I do miss my Superboy, which is Connor. I don't even know what the hell he's doing. I don't even know if he's in continuity anymore.
Is he back? Because the other Superboy's here too, right?
Cool. Well, Connor was back, but he was part of that Young Animals line that was not part in continuity. I don't know what they're doing, honestly.
I don't know.
I mean,
he's not. Oh, sorry. So in here
they
talk about he's not still mentally 13 because he was instead. I guess they retconned it a little bit, and actually he was like he grew up in like a hellish landscape for that many years, so he was never like just aged up out of nowhere. So because they probably realized that was weird to do.
Well, think of like Illyana, right? Illyana Rasputin is 13 years old when she goes to Limbo.
Yeah.
And now she's super sexied up in X-Men. It would be like that same thing, right? Like, does she still have the mind of a 13-year-old? No, these people, Illyana and both Jonathan, lived in a different place that they aged differently. So mentally, they grew up. Of course, they grew up kind of messed up because they were alone.
Yeah, I want to read more Magic comics. That's not for right now, but that's what I want. After playing Marvel Midnight Suns, and I'm really excited for whatever. I know Midnight Suns has a comic book right now. I want to read more Magic because I really like her. But that's not related. That's a Marvel conversation.
Yeah. Can we talk about this issue? Because when you mentioned him getting a hit out on him, this was done so brilliantly. And this issue, we haven't even talked about Bitewing, guys. How did we not talk about Bitewing?
Well, technically, we talked about Bitewing last time. So,
okay. So issue 87, I think. Yeah, 87. This one right here.
Yeah,
is an issue where this is the one that Maddie was talking about, where Babs calls him and it's like, "Hey, they're hunting you," and it's sequential art like no other. Oh, this is so
it's
good.
incredible,
brilliant.
So you just follow Dick Grayson. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm mirrored.
While he's chatting with
like,
Babs
like that,
and fighting crime.
and he's just dodging bullets. And oh man, when he gets to like fighting villains, this reminds me of like
so
Spy
good.
versus Spy and Mad Comics.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Like, wow.
I feel like the closest thing I can compare this to, like, if someone was saying like, what's a good like Marvel equivalent, I would say Hawkeye.
Right?
Yeah,
because like stylistically, and with like character time, to me like Hawkeye is the closest equivalent to what this is. I feel like they just took it and went a little bit further because like this is so it's color wise, like color wise and layout wise. I feel like Hawkeye walked so that Nightwing by Tom Taylor and Ronaldo could run. Well, like just the way it's all laid out, it's incredible.
This is the kind of stuff that you see in like independent comics, right? They have a lot more freedom.
Yeah.
And it feels like Tom Taylor, his editors are like, yeah, whatever. Nightwing wasn't our bestseller. Have fun. Do whatever. And
they like, bet. And we're going to get Jamal Campbell on covers, so just get ready. And they're like, what?
I just hope Bruno doesn't go anywhere.
Real good. What?
I just hope Bruno doesn't go away because his art is phenomenal. He reminds me a little bit of not because of the same art style, but Mikhail Janin, because everyone he draws is hot, whether it's a man or a woman. Like everyone Bruno Redondo draws
keeps them.
Oh my god, the way he draws Babs.
Oh yeah, well like we talk about the two. Like everyone's hot, but in a way that's like they're still very individualized. Because you could say Clayman makes everybody really hot, but they are also like this.
Yeah, but they're very.
You know what I mean? I mean, they're beautiful.
They're how do I say this? Like they're super model hot, right?
These people are hot, and they have personality to them. Like Babs is hot, but her face is so unique. It's so well done.
Freckles and oh my gosh, just so cute.
She's hot, but still looks like the girl next door.
Absolutely.
Like that's a thing. I don't know how you can make
10
that.
10 out of 10 would bang.
Yeah. Which would make it even harder to cast her in her live action. But
impossible.
You put a mask on that? Woo!
Wait, let me highlight you.
Goodness.
Look at that.
Oh, I love that when she's laughing at him because he's like,
Yeah,
he's trying to insinuate they can't be together.
Oh,
yeah. That was awesome.
Man, there's so much to talk about. Okay.
I wanted to talk about that issue because I think that issue is what solidified them that Eisner, because they were trying
let's
something.
Touch on that because there's a lot in there. One, Hey, thank you so much, Lenny Laserdisc. Absolutely loving this run.
I read the last part.
One of my favorite pickups every month. These sexy variant covers make me question my sexuality. Listen, I'm with you. I mean, I don't question it. I'm in all of them, but
you're not questioning it.
No,
it's solidifying it, I guess.
Oh my god! I got. Okay, I gotta ask you, ladies, what's your favorite variant cover? Because I think the one that gets voted the most,
the Nicholas Scott one of him in the pool.
Yes, the Nicholas Scott.
Oh, I love
where he's coming out of the pool, his booty's still in the pool.
Booty out.
This one here.
That's the one everybody thinks of.
That's the one everyone online thinks is the hottest. Variant.
I don't like that one as much because that's not my style. I really like the one I used it as the thumbnail for this one, where he's just kind of like, I don't know.
Oh, okay, you like your traditional superhero.
I like my traditional, but he looks cute though. He's like
you're not objectifying him, okay?
Well, I think the way Nicholas Scott draws him isn't really my style of guy. I think he's very attractive. It's not really my type.
Maddie, let me show you the back of this custom omnibus.
Oh, it's one of those? Yeah.
Yeah, it's that picture right there.
Wait, let's talk about that final bit because there's a lot. Because I want to talk
a lot
about
happens in that final volume 3.
The really cool part at the way they beat Blockbuster.
Yeah, so his sister actually plays a big role, like Amanda was saying in the third arc, right?
Yeah, she
to
does
take down Blockbuster. Go ahead, Amanda. Can you talk? Or
I can talk somewhat. No, I mean, I do love and that's what when we talk about progression, I think it's so interesting because they use everyone's skill sets so well. You have his sister, she's able to really fly under the radar with Blockbuster. And even when Blockbuster knows there's a rat amongst him, he thinks it's the electrocutioner because the electrocutioner just wants to know what's going on because I'm just a nosy bad guy, semi-villain. But she's able to subvert all of that. I mean, up until the point where she doesn't. But the way they're able to use her to lay the traps along with Oracle and her skill set and what she finds out, which is basically that he has all these villains working for him and he's the one funding the prison they've all been in and some of their friends have died in because it's such an awful prison. And his downfall isn't really Dick Grayson necessarily or Nightwing and his big fight, right? They have a big fight, but it's his people. They turn their backs on him and they have that one. I mean, Omar, you want to put it up?
Oh my God, it's so good. Yeah, Omar.
That one page where basically they have to use the comic book authority symbol because
it's the DC Comics code.
It's so good. It's so good.
I remember Tom Taylor tweeting about this, saying, I can't believe DC let us get away with so much.
It was great.
But it's the electrocutioner.
Yeah,
let's show the bottom of that page if you can, because he keeps he's just yelling expletives. He's flipping everybody off, and they can't show it, so it's just more of the DC Comics authority.
So
great. I feel like a lot of the writers in the 90s, would have done the exact same thing had the ability to. It feels like there's a lot more freedom within these superhero comics because they don't have to follow the Comics Code Authority guidelines anymore. Yeah. So they can have fun like that.
Well, and our society's changed too. I think that plays a big
role. Yeah, and they realized finally, it took Stan Lee, Jesus, Martin Goodman was all about comics are for kids, and Stan Lee was like, no, we got to bring, and the people that keep coming back are older. They're teenagers, and they'll be in college, and we got to write for them. So.
Yep. Yeah, I really feel like it's a very satisfying way to close out that chapter of it.
Yes,
because it just builds back into Nightwing's progression, where you can absolutely see Bloodhaven being healed and helped by him, and them in turn helping him, and the community actually working together. So his work is actually doing something.
Yeah,
and the way that they were just like, hey, criminals, he fucked you over.
Yeah,
I can say that now that it's 8:40, right?
And it's not. And it's also. I think so.
YouTube's so strange.
But it's not even like that. But it's also I think in the beginning parts and stuff, he is a prodigy of Batman who works. Well, work solo, right? So throughout this entire run, like someone was talking about how he's always getting saved by everyone else, but it's a matter of finding out that he doesn't have to be alone. And so he starts using his teams to help him fight this battle. And because that's what the end, right? He has the Titans, everyone's working together to bring this final end, right? Which I think is amazing.
Good.
It was so great.
I both like and I don't like, because I like him solving his own problems his way. Especially when he's got Babs at his side. So I don't like the idea of like, oh, I have a villain and I need to do a certain thing. Hey, John, can you be over there really quick and save the day? Or Wally, can you take a break from checking on me every hour on the hour, you freak?
It was only that one time because stuff was happening.
I know, but I hate when people say that. That's not true. Yeah, that's kind of what I didn't like about the run, is that I wish that it had been more solo Nightwing. And that's why I love Nightwing by Chuck Dixon. And I'm not comparing it to this, because this is it's even a different Bloodhaven, the way that it looks.
Yeah.
But this, feels like he isn't alone, which we talked about. He's in a better place. He's got money.
Yeah.
That always helps. He has a new costume. I mean, he's got Mr. Terrific, and
God, that's so cool.
Designing a costume for his, specifically for his butt. Boy, this comic is very self-aware of what.
As he should be.
Nightwing. Yes.
If you want women to read comics, then listen, you should do the same thing to the guys you do to the ladies, okay?
I mean, it's true. I would never would have read anything if it wasn't for the Grayson Omni. And then I saw that and I was like, good.
They gave us the butt and they gave us a puppy and they gave us romance. And we're like, all right, cool.
We're in.
Romance, yes. There's plenty of that in this, which I'm happy because holy crap, that's stuff that was not allowed by DC. By the way, that was a really nice touch. When Maggie shows up,
I'll save it.
In volume 3,
Maggie Bellman's
Maggie Sawyer from Metropolis. Yeah. So her and Kate were engaged.
Yep.
Yeah.
But at the time, that's why J.H. Williams left the book, because DC was like, no, we're not doing any marriages. And it's not because, they were two gay women. It was because we're not doing any marriages. Yeah. And J.H. Williams was like, deuces, I'm out. You lost like the best artist, because he wanted to write a specific storyline and they would not let the characters get married. So I like the way that it's almost like making fun of the editorial staff at the time, the way she handles that question when he asked her, like, what happened with that? I thought you guys were engaged. You were going to get married. And then the way that she answered it, I thought they were kind of poking fun at the editorial staff at DC at the time for not letting it happen. Yeah. So that was a nice touch. And it's always good to see Maggie back.
That, before we get to any guys' questions, talk about that exchange we were about to talk about between Babs and Dick Grayson, because like at the end of this, it's revealed to Blockbuster, because he pulls his mask off, that he is Dick Grayson. Yeah. At Nightwing is Dick Grayson. Now there's like a target on his back, and he talks to Babs and he's like, "They're after me now." Like, and because that you, Barbara, are in trouble because you are related to me. Like, we can't be this. And she's like, what does it matter? It's you and me. It's Nightwing and Oracle. It's Robin and Batgirl. It's Dick and Barbara. Like, it's very
That was a great line. That was a great, yes. The whole exchange was wonderful. And what's so funny is that they don't even realize that Blockbuster's dead now. So joke's on them.
And so is Gunhawk. Dude, they're killing these 90s villains, man.
Yeah, Tom Taylor did them a real solid by killing them, so let's not even deal with it.
Risk! Gunhawk! Gun Bunny got away.
Oh my God.
Yes, Gun Bunny did get away.
But it does feel like they're finally going somewhere with this relationship. How far they take it, who knows? They'll end up breaking up until the next reboot. Then him. I do like that she got a little jealous when he was checking out Starfire.
Well, it didn't sound like it was jealous. Like, you mean like the fantasy one, the Christmas one? Because it sounds like she was like, holy ex-girlfriend. As if
yes,
she was
that's
like,
what he said.
Damn, good choice. Like, all right,
that was nice.
That
was nice.
We're in elevated Babs now. Okay. She knew she was dating an F-boy, you know what I mean? She knew.
Yeah, how did she not?
You just have to wait around until that kind of guy is like, okay, if you, not that she should. She has no.
Yes.
There is no like solid ground in this relationship, Babs.
So I didn't finish or I haven't read Batgirls. I did want to ask you, Maddie, because I think you kept up with it. Okay, so why does she need a back brace in this? In Fear State? Because when her costume has a built-in back brace, and she talks about
she was already having issues. So like in Rebirth Batgirl and Batgirl and Birds of Prey, she was still having issues. It was just that something had been invented to like help her spine. They introduced that like New 52. This thing was new. So I think they were like, hey, people don't like that she's Batgirl. Let's go back to Oracle. They miss Oracle.
We do.
Let's figure out a way to do that. Yeah. So she can kind of be both. And so they were like, here's a new thing. And she's just going to be like a little more timid about it. And be like, well, I've got a new, there we go. Back Out Run by Joker, end of run. So I got a new, wait, the most recent run?
The Rebirth run, that one?
Which run of what?
Because there was Batgirls and the Birds of Prey.
Okay, so her implant was damaged in the Joker War event. So she got a new thing.
Okay, so then in Fear State, that's why she has that back brace. Okay, I
think they strategically did it because a lot of fans were still upset that.
Well,
I'm glad that we have a good medium to that because I started Batgirl later, right? So I understand.
Yeah. So,
I want both.
Yeah, I like the both aspect too.
We got a question here.
Oh yeah, this is interesting. I kept looking at it.
Yeah. Oh. So they asked, who is more important on this Nightwing run, Taylor or Redondo? If you choose one, then the average writer or artist would take place of the loser. I have strong opinions about this.
That's hard because I don't think
it's a fair question.
Okay, comic books is a medium that is a team effort, or especially American comics.
Yes.
And I don't think Tom Taylor would have written the script to issue 87 for someone else. And no offense to other artists out there. I think that issue was specifically written for Redondo, who he knew could carry something that crazy. I mean, you can see on Twitter or Instagram how much he really likes his artist. And it's tough, right? Because a lot of memorable moments in my favorite Nightwing run or my favorite X-Men run are embedded in my head because of the art, right? Like a lot of Jim Lee, a lot of Scott McDaniel, even Greg Land on Nightwing. So I don't know if that's a fair question. It's tough. I mean, if I was the editor and you're asking me like who I would replace, I hate to say this, but I guess I'd replace Bruno Redondo. Even though he is probably carrying the book for a lot of people, like, because it is a visual art form. But to me, the writer is what makes the story and knows how the story will end and how to get there. The artist can't. I mean, how many times have we lost a writer and the artist come in? Looking at you lately, Hulk with Ryan Otley, and there's nothing wrong with Ryan Otley's artwork, but it's not Donny Cates. You know what I'm saying?
No. Yeah.
So that's just my honest opinion. What about you all? I mean, any thoughts on that?
So for me, because I think for me it's Tom Taylor, I would choose him. I would get rid of Redondo as well, because for me, as a first and foremost, like as a novel reader, or someone who doesn't read a medium that's predominantly like images, I think I do favor the story over the artwork sometimes. So that's why I think I would choose to get rid of Redondo, just because that's my preference because of how I've been trained to read growing up. Right.
Okay.
So that's why.
No, it's fair enough. Fair enough. It's your opinion.
I don't think it's fair to choose one over the other, especially because in so many comic books, people don't realize, and I fall into this trap too, where I have a bad habit of being like, this is this person's. When really, a lot of comic books, I mean, this is more so, I guess, when it's not Big Two, but even Big Two, it's a collaborative process. So the artist is part of that story making as well. It's not just always like, hey, I've written it out, here you go. And they will affect one another and kind of bounce off one another. So for me, I would never be able, I'd be like, this is the team. It's either this team or it's no team for me. Because like that's how I feel like it should be. This is This is the creation of these two people's like collaborative relationship, and it would not exist if they did not have the rapport that they did.
That's how I feel about like Jason Aaron and Russell Dauterman.
Absolutely.
Because I don't think you could have one without the other and make those, like, you know what I mean? With Mighty Thor, you couldn't do that. It wouldn't have been as memorable or as good as what it was. I think they need each other. That's why it's hard for me. I mean, if I had to, I'll choose it. But yeah, that's
well, and I will say that it's not the case for every team. I say this team in particular. I think there's other teams where you were like, nah, you can let that guy go. This story can exist without him. But I think this team, it's like this duo belongs together.
Yeah, there's certain Kismet out there that definitely belong together in comic book history. And I think this will go down as, you know, if you're a fan of Dixon and McDaniel, this will go down in history as one of the best Nightwing runs. It's like McFarlane says, you can sell a comic with good art and bad writing, but not the other way around. I kind of agree with that, but I always think of Jeff Lemire. I do not like Jeff Lemire's artwork at all. I do not, but oh my God, May's book,
so good.
Or Sweet Tooth, or any of those books that he's written, Underwater Welder, like, oh my God, it's wonderful. And I hate his art because I don't think he even has a basic understanding of what a human body's supposed to move like. I've complained about this, but you know what?
I love it, but I respect you.
I'm not a fan of his art at all. But I think it really depends on who you are, right? Like, and I know several people that bought Spawn because it's Tom McFarlane, Greg Capullo, but the story wasn't that great. Unless you are Jim Lee, I ain't buying a book regularly just because of the art. I ain't about to live that through the 90s again. That was the mentality of the 90s for sure. Yeah. That art. What's up, Kyle? How are you, man?
Hey, Kyle.
I'm late, but are we all in agreement that Teen Titans Nightwing is complete?
Hey, Roberto.
Roberto's coming in here because he's mad because people were upset that Flash didn't do that well. Me and Roberto.
I like you. Don't try to fight
I'm just kidding. I don't know if he liked Flash. I think I'm the only one that liked Flash.
I like Jeff Lemire's art, but that's because I feel like the rawness of it suits his like down to earth stories personally. But I respect that it's not for everybody. It's one of those. It's like
absolutely. But Black Hammer, he didn't draw though. Black Hammer, he's just a writer. He's a phenomenal writer, and like I said, a great storyteller. His art never clicked with me.
Yeah, I just read Royal City for the first time a couple weeks ago. Oh my God,
it's solid. That's a good one.
So good.
You ever read Essex
I need to read
County?
His Swamp Thing. I read Essex County. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Batman Hush is highly rated as a story that has nothing to do with Loeb.
See, I don't know. I like the Batman Hush a lot. That's one we probably need to do on this channel.
I'm surprised. Have we not? Or have I just imagined it?
We did Long Halloween, and we did year one. Did we do year two? Oh God, we need to do year two.
I can't believe we have not done Hush.
I feel like we have done year two because you really like it, but people don't, right? So we read it.
I think I'm the only one that likes it. No one else likes it.
Alex Gomez says in Batgirl's book, Babs using a wheelchair on her off time or while as Oracle, but it went away when the suit came on.
Okay.
So it sounds like editorial couldn't make up her mind.
I haven't picked up Batgirls yet. So even though I'm like a big Batgirl fan, I haven't picked up the Batgirls.
With Maddie, Jeff doing his things all around resonates with me. That's awesome. As long as you like it, it's all that matters. It's all that matters. So out of this run, I don't know how long they're gonna be on the book. I mean, it could be 50 issues, could be 100 issues.
I'm with it. I don't care.
That's what I'm hoping with, especially with the long game with Heartless, because I keep wondering, and I don't know anyone else in the comments if you've been reading past volume 3, the most current stuff, if Heartless is the main storyline, I don't know.
I heard the next story arc was Heart something, but I don't know if that will be Heartless. Just like this, I think this particular storyline in volume 3 was Heart something, and it was about Blockbuster's heart at the end.
I think he's delivering well enough so far. Like this team that I'm in. It's like when we had Thor coming out. I'm like, whatever you want to do. I'm here.
I want to see how long they're gonna last, and I hope that maybe DC has confidence. I mean, if they keep winning Eisner Awards, I'd keep them on.
Yeah,
I'd keep them on as long as I could. As long as they're making money and winning awards, I would keep them on.
Somebody did ask at some point in the chat, we were missing, so we were talking, if you had to read anything else before reading this. I would argue that you don't really have to. If anything, if you did read more before this, I don't know, it could add some, like.
So I didn't read anything before this, and I enjoyed this immensely. So there, take that for.
Yeah. I mean, it helps if you have a basic knowledge of some basic characters, but like.
I will say the only thing you might be pissed off at is when you're reading the first issue and you're like, "Oh, Alfred died? That sucks."
Oh yeah,
I didn't realize that Bruce lost all of his money too. Like, or that's like a thing. Like
yeah, there was a lot of things that were going on in the Batman books, and I'm trying to think, what really do you need to read? I kind of am with both of the ladies. I don't think you really need to read anything. If you want to compare it to another great run, I think that Chuck Dixon's run's still my favorite run. Unfortunately, Nightwing has just been one of these characters that hasn't had, at least to me, phenomenal runs. Because Devin Grayson's run was an atrocity. So was Bruce Jones' run. Marv Wolfman couldn't even pull him out of the water. Oh my God, it was awful. Peter Tomasi had a pretty good run. Kyle Higgins was okay in New 52. And then we had that whole Grayson, Tim Seeley, and Tom King.
Certainly a choice to do.
And then the Rebirth era, and then we had Rick Grayson. Oh my God, let's not even talk about that. No. Yeah, so unfortunately, at least for me, he didn't. I mean, for my favorite character, he really didn't have that great a run. Like, I wasn't a fan of Tim Seeley's Grayson. I'm not sure
what the last issue of this is. Whatever the last issue of Volume 3 is.
I know Roberto's up to.
I will say, I feel like DC 96. Struggles a lot. 96. Yeah. DC struggles a lot with how to deal, and this is something that a lot of issues, like both the big two deal with, is they struggle a lot with how to tell stories about their legacy characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
consistently have an issue doing that across the board.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with
Dan
that comment.
Didio was a really good interview because I was asking him some hard questions, and he actually did not back down. And he told me, he was like, the idea behind that is like, well, how many stories can you tell about a legacy character that's kind of doing the same thing Batman's doing, except in another city? So that's why I wanted to kill him off. That's why he almost died in the pages of Infinite Crisis. And after Chuck Dixon left the book, they really didn't know what to do with the character. And it's not
that
really...
always frustrates me because I'm like, there's so much you can do with these characters that you're just not being imaginative enough. But I understand that's me speaking from a place of like ignorance of how editorial works.
No.
Overall image. To me, I'm like, duh. This.
Yeah, and the thing that we forget too as fans, because I do it too, is that these books have to sell. And if a book isn't selling, then you get a new creative team and you try different things, and it's just, you try different things without trying to cancel the book or trying to kill him. So, yeah. Let's see here. Speaking of Eisner's awards, how on earth was Jenny Frison not even nominated for Best Cover Artist? Redondo won, but I think his interiors are better than his covers. I agree with that. Actually, I like his interiors much better than his covers because I don't think he's a good sequential artist, right?
Oh, it's incredible.
Like, he is easy to follow, and oh my gosh, he's amazing. Frison, of course, is a cover artist.
I mean, I could say, like, and I collect Frison covers. It's very well. I have a ton in my house. I could say that there is like a consistency throughout that. So if you're looking at someone who is very dynamic as a cover artist, you may not look to Frison because yes, she's an incredible artist, but there is a lot of consistency throughout her work. There's a very, there's that line, right? I mean, there is, including with faces and everything else. And I say that as a huge Frison fan. So I could see where someone's like, trying to look for covers that are different, that differ throughout. Somebody who has like a talent to really change the game every time.
I'm loving what's her
Jamal
name?
Campbell.
Yeah, Maya Wolf. Like, her art is so different. Like, I love it. Every one of her covers I've been enjoying at Marvel. They could have built on what Dixon created. Instead, they deleted Bloodhammer. Yeah, we don't even talk about what that stuff, man. Because like none of the writers knew what to do, and the editors were like, "Yeah, just get him, let him be like Batman
There's a lot
Jr.
that goes into it.
Yeah,
there's enough blame to go around. Absolutely.
And I've read some pretty bad Titans books, and they were trying to like.
Yeah, and it's hard to be the writer when you're limited to what you can do with the character.
Well, and events, because like you're like, hey, I want to do this with the characters. Like, oh, bring him back in though. I need to do this, or I need this one to die. And
even now, they're still going into events.
Yeah.
Didio left, and now Nightwing is doing better than ever. It's no surprise. It is nice to see my favorite character back, in an enjoyable series that I'm kind of tempted to go and check out digitally just because I don't want anything spoiled for me, because I had to go and read that X-Men Hellfire Gala. Roberto, are you still in here? Did you read that one?
I've read that, but the covers for the Hellfire Gala, that's like
great.
Dude, the final 2 pages of the Hellfire Gala both made me laugh and go, fuck yes. This is what I've been waiting for.
Okay.
Like, because I wasn't expecting it. I don't think a lot of people were. I don't know where people are, if they're pissed off about it or if they're like loving it. I'm curious how the fan base is feeling about the last couple pages.
Man,
dude, I love the last 2 pages. It made me laugh, and I was like, yeah, man, I've been wanting that. Ooh, Tom Taylor and Nicola Scott.
I would love to review Titans any day.
Now, is she doing the internal artwork for the first 6 issues, I assume?
I think just for Tales of Titans, I believe she's doing.
Okay.
Maybe not. Maybe I could be incorrect, because I'm picking up issue by issue, but I haven't read them yet. I can't remember if she's doing the internals for Tales of or Titans, because there's 2 different things happening right now. And we've got World's Finest Teen Titans. It is a Titans time for me.
World's Finest. So good.
Titans are back. They're doing stuff. Ray Harper's in Green Arrow. His whole family's back. What's happening? Oh.
I read the first issue of Green Arrow, and I liked it.
I'm stoked. It's made for me. It's a big old family book. And Roy's back in his very much 90s outfit, which is hilarious.
Okay. What would you ladies give the first 4 volumes, or I guess 3.5 volumes of Nightwing by Tom Taylor, and anybody else that has read it?
I'd say like an 8.
8.
I'm really happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
8 or 9. I feel really good about it. I think it will really depend on how it ends with Heartless. If this pays off, it could be a 10 for me.
Yeah. It could all be a dream.
Yeah, 8.5. It just depends on what that ending is going to be. And I hope we get an ending.
Gosh, they better not.
I
need to know.
Yeah, I think actually I agree with you. I think an 8 out of 10 is good. There were some things that I really loved about this run. And there were some things that I'm like, it's okay. I'm curious how the payoff is going to be, or how long they're going to be on it. But as long as they we have the same creative team working on it, I'm in. I'll keep reading it, and hopefully they're on it for a long time. I miss those days of having the same creators on a book for more than a year.
That's why manga's great. So it's about time to wrap it up. But I just want everybody to know that I'll be back next week. The schedule's out for the month, so good job me. Back next week with Wonder Woman Historia. The week after that is Cosmo Nights, because the second volume is out, and I'm very excited to talk about both of them. And then the last week of this month is Invisible Kingdom by G. Willow Wilson. So
you're reading some good books. Melanie's actually doing the book club on Wonder Woman Historia.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Like that's what they wanted for it. You know what's funny? We did an overview of it, and I'm like, what would you rate this? And she was like, oh, I don't know. I let the kids read it. I'm like, are you sure? There's a lot of like nudity and sexual stuff in here. And she's like, are you? Yeah, we were looking at it, and then she looked at the rating, and it's rated mature.
It's a Black Label book.
Well, they don't all have to be, right? I think some of them are just, they have that line. 9 out of 10 and 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Cody gives it a 6 out of 10. And
that's pretty good.
Do you think they will release an entire Nightwing 1996 Devin Grayson, Bruce, Mark Wolfman, Peter Tomasi run, since they were releasing the Nightwing Compendium Volume 1 is just called Nightwing Compendium. It's not called Nightwing by Chuck Dixon and Scott McDaniel. So those are not creator-centric, so I'm sure they will go all the way through. Hola, Omar, saludos desde México para ti y tus increíbles acompañantes. Estas dos muchachas. Gracias por tu canal. Muchas gracias, hermano. 9 out of 10. I think the compendiums cover up to 153. I think so. And then everybody can see how horrible Devin Grayson's run is. And maybe we should review that.
Well, thank you all for hanging out and talking about it. Do you have a show tomorrow?
We do, yes. We are reviewing.
Both of you.
Yes, we do. We are reviewing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. which is
I need to watch that this week.
Which is not the video game.
Not the video game. So we'll be reviewing that. So stay tuned tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless Omar tells me I need to push it back or whatever. But that's what it's going to be.
Depends on your voice there.
No, I'll be better tomorrow. I'm sure
you
every
take some
day.
shots of whiskey beforehand.
And then next week I go see Yellow Card in concert, so he'll be gone again.
Oh my gosh, man. Lord. Well, everybody, send some tea to the P.O. Box for Amanda. Thank you, James. Everybody wants to get a shot for the Patreon as well. Patreon book club you can be part of.
So that's the part where everybody joins through Zoom and they talk about the book and talk about the things they enjoyed and didn't like. And she does that once. She hosts it, and every once in a while, I'll jump in, and especially if it's something I enjoyed, like the Dark Phoenix saga.
Have they done that one yet? I did jump in on one when they did Wonder Woman. What is it? Battle Earth, and now it was a lot of fun.
Dead Earth.
Sorry,
that's an awesome one.
It was
so
really good. It was a fun time. All
right. Well, good night, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Check out if you comment down below. I always say I don't stop doing. If you're watching this point, comment down below. If you're watching not live, tell us your thoughts about Nightwing and suggestions of books to read next. Please be kind. We're nice people. You don't gotta be mean. I hope you like this video. Subscribe for future content. Check out our Patreon, through which you can vote for a pick of the month, roll over your new reader, and a bunch of other stuff. Mm-hmm. And check out them talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles tomorrow live. Yeah, next month I want to review a book I don't like, so maybe I'll put up some things I don't like on the Patreon for people to vote. Fun. I think for the last 3 times it's been books that I really like. Right? I'm like, why would they vote for something that's bad? Is just be Bendis? Yeah. It's so fun. No. The reason why we do wasn't really. And just bad. Because I think it's bad doesn't mean that you two won't think it's bad, right? Like that's maybe true. You two will end up loving it. All right, there we go. Iron Man 3, you hated it. Still sucks. Anyways, good night, everybody. See you next time. Bye.